So think about the phone in your hand, or the laptop you're probably watching this on. We all see them as, temporary gadgets, right? They're destined for the junk drawer or the trash heap. But what if that's a completely wrong way to look at them? What if they're not just disposable junk? What if they're actually the building blocks of our planet's future geology? It's a pretty wild idea, so let's dive in and explore it. It's like we're living our lives by two totally different clocks at the same time. On one hand, you've got tech time. It's all about nanoseconds, product cycles, constantly rushing toward the next quarterly report. It's frantic, it's fast, and it's obsessed with what's next. And then you've got geological time. We're talking millennia, epochs, that deep, slow, almost unimaginable pressure of the future. I mean, these two things, they just seem completely incompatible, don't they? But what if they're not? What if that's just the wrong way to think about it? Imagine this. What if the super fast pace of tech time is just a little ripple, a quick current, inside the huge, slow-moving river of geological time? What if at the end of the day, they're not two different timelines at all, but actually the exact same story? Okay, so to really wrap our heads around this, we've got to tackle something we all just accept, and that's this idea of obsolescence. We need to kind of pull apart this throwaway mindset that pretty much defines how we think about all of our tech. And I mean, we all know this cycle intimately, right? A shiny new device launches. A year, maybe 2 years later, you're getting all these nudges to upgrade. So the old one gets tossed, it quickly becomes obsolete, it's unsupported, it feels slow, it's basically a digital relic. This is the engine that drives the whole tech industry, and it's completely built on this idea of constant, planned disappearance. And you know what? This relentless cycle has totally conditioned us. We've literally been trained to see our most powerful, most advanced tools as these fleeting, temporary things. They're designed to be temporary, they're built to be replaced, so of course they feel completely disposable to us. But here's the kicker. This is the question that changes everything. When we throw that hardware away, where is away? Where does it actually go? Because there's no magical place called away. It has to go somewhere. And that somewhere, well, that's the beginning of a much, much longer story. And that right there brings us to the core idea of this whole explainer, the geology of circuits. It's a brand new way of looking at hardware, a totally new prism. So forget about product cycles for a minute and start thinking about sedimentation. And this brings us to this really cool new term, technofossils, because that's what our hardware is becoming. We're talking about the future geological layers, the strata, that will be formed from all of our discarded electronics. I mean, the silicon, the copper, the lithium. It doesn't just vanish into thin air. Nope. It returns to the Earth, and it creates a completely new mineral layer for the planet. So let's trace the whole journey, right? Step 1, extraction. We're mining raw minerals out of the ground. Step 2, creation. We turn those minerals into an incredibly complex processor. Then comes step 3, that super short, familiar part, obsolescence. That's when we toss it aside. But the final and by far the most permanent step is sedimentation. That's when all those components break down and get compressed into a brand new layer in the planet's crust. So here it is, the big takeaway. Your phone, your laptop, every single server humming away in a data center, they're not just tools that are going to become garbage. They are, quite literally, future rocks. Let that sink in. They're geological artifacts in the making. Okay, so if our hardware is basically destined to become part of the planet's geology, what does that mean for how we make this stuff in the first place? This whole perspective invites a really radical shift in thinking, moving away from planned obsolescence and toward, well, planned geology. I mean, for decades, the question driving Silicon Valley has been all about speed and disposability. It's always been, how can we make it faster, how can we make it more powerful, and how can we make damn sure it's obsolete in 18 months? That's the logic of tech time in a nutshell. But this new way of thinking, it poses a completely, profoundly different question. Something like, how do we design this device for its fossil beauty in 10,000 years? I mean, just think about that. What would a processor even look like if you were designing it to be a beautiful and fascinating rock for some future civilization to dig up? This changes everything. It's a whole new design philosophy. All of a sudden, design isn't just an industrial act, it's a geological act. You wouldn't just choose materials based on how well they conduct electricity, but on what kind of mineral they'll become. Creation isn't just manufacturing anymore, it's consciously sculpting future artifacts. It's this wild mashup of industrial archaeology and mineralogy.
Now, let's be clear. This isn't about finding some simple, easy solution for e-waste. It's about provoking something the source material calls a cognitive insurrection. And that's just a fancy way of saying a fundamental rebellion in the way we think. It's about giving ourselves a completely new set of questions to ask.
So, the goal here, it's not about finding one neat little answer. It's about getting a new grid, a new framework for seeing and understanding the tech world that's all around us every single day. So let's try it out. Here's the first question this new lens gives us. That giant growing mountain of e-waste, is it just a pollution problem? Or is it actually an archive of our civilization? A kind of library of all our materials, our priorities, our obsessions, just waiting for a future archaeologist to come along and read it?
And you can take this thinking even further, beyond just physical hardware. Think about software. Is a bug just a flaw that needs to be patched? Or is it a future mystery? A little ghost in the machine that some digital archaeologist 1,000 years from now could study to understand the weird, unique ways that we thought and coded.
And all of this leaves us with one final thought. A question that takes this huge geological idea and brings it right back down to you, right now. The device you're using to watch this, the tech you use every single day, it's going to outlive you. Not as a working machine, of course, but as a tiny layer of sediment in the earth. So, the real question is, what future rock are you sculpting today?